Greetings, Bishop Fintan here. I'm delighted to be joining you this morning in your school for this virtual visit. I'm coming to you from St. Joseph's Church in Glanmire, and I'm joined by the students of Scoil Nave Joseph and Scoil Nave Mihal. The students have put together a number of very difficult questions for me, so I'm going to do my best to try and answer those questions around Christmas. And so I'm going to ask Mary Kate, what question do you have for me?
How many innkeepers did Mary and Joseph have to go through, and what was the innkeeper's name that let them in?
Well, the Bible doesn't tell us what the innkeeper's name was, but we do know that he was a very kind man. And it was a very busy time in Bethlehem because everybody was coming back to do what they call a census. Everybody had to register their families. So all the inns were very full, and the innkeeper's inn was full. But when he saw Mary and Joseph, he kind of felt a bit sorry for them. And he decided he had to make room. So he made whatever room he had available, which was his stable at the back of his house. We see in our own world today many people who are without homes here in our own city, in our own country, people coming from different parts of the world where there's war or there's different kinds of conflict. And we have to take our lead from the innkeeper and open our hearts and our homes to those who come to us in our country. And so, Alison, have you a question for me?
How did the three wise men know that the star would guide them to Jesus?
Well, the three wise men were astronomers, okay? And we know what an astronomer is. They study the stars. So they were studying the stars, and an angel appeared to them and told them to follow the star from the east. And that star would be over where the baby Jesus was to be born. So they made their way there. And when they saw the star, they went into the stable, they saw the baby Jesus, and they wanted to pay him homage. So they gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now we'll ask Connor.
What do you think happened to the three gifts that the wise men gave to Jesus?
So the three gifts, we don't really know. We know that they were very precious gifts. We're not told in the Bible what happened to them, but we do know that that started a tradition that we have today of giving gifts to one another for Christmas. Gifts are a sign of our love for the person that we're giving them to. And I'm sure many of you will receive lots of gifts, but it's not really important about how much you spend on a gift. It's more important what you put into the gift. So maybe the best gifts that you could give to one another and to your friends and family would be the gifts that you could make yourself. So just to try and put a bit of effort in it. I certainly always appreciate the gifts, particularly the ones that people make for you rather than that they buy. Maria, do you have a question for us?
How long did it take from Mary and Joseph to go from Nazareth to Bethlehem, and how many stops did they make?
How long did it take? Well, we know it was a very long journey, and it was quite an uncomfortable journey for Mary because she was just about to give birth to Jesus. As I said, there was a census taking place at the time in Bethlehem, so there was lots of people moving around, and they wouldn't have known that the baby Jesus, the King of Kings, was actually travelling with them. So even in our own times, in our own city here in Cork and the towns right around West Cork, there's lots of movement in these days of preparation for Christmas, people shopping, traffic. And in all of that, we have to remember that in all that hustle and bustle, Jesus is at the centre of it because Jesus is the reason that we celebrate Christmas. So Caleb, what's your question?
What was the stable made out of, and how big was it?
The stable was made out of wood, and a stable is there to house animals, farm animals usually. So it would have been warm and dry, but it wouldn't have been very big. It's interesting that God chose that Jesus would be born in a stable and not in a palace or not in a rich person's house, because God was trying to tell us that Jesus wants to be close to all of us, but particularly to those who are poor and those who are weak. So now we have Theo. Theo, have you got a question for us?
Where did Mary and Joseph go after Jesus was born?
Well, the three wise men on their way to find the baby Jesus called King Herod. And King Herod got very nervous and angry because he was afraid that this new baby Jesus, who was to be the king of the Jews, was going to affect his kingdom. So he decided that he was going to kill the baby Jesus. But before that happened, Joseph had a dream, and in the dream an angel appeared to him. And the angel told Joseph to take Mary and the baby Jesus to Egypt. So they went off to Egypt and they stayed there until King Herod had died, and then they came back and lived in Bethlehem. And so, Alicia, you have a question for us.
What does the nativity story teach us, and what does the word nativity mean?
The word nativity comes from Latin, which means to give birth. So it's really celebrating the birth of Christ. The message of the nativity is probably the most important message that Christmas wants to give to us. It is that God loves us and that God sent His Son into the world to change our world and to save us. We know when we read the Bible and the stories in the Bible that Jesus had very many important messages for us. Messages of love, of peace, of how to treat other people, and how to build a better world. So the message of Christmas, the message of the Nativity, is one of peace and love and building a better world. So I hope that I've been able to answer those questions that were put to me this morning, and I'm sure you in your own classrooms this morning have many other questions around Christmas, which maybe your teachers or your mums and dads or your guardians at home may be able to help you with those questions. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all of you, the students, the teachers, all the people who work our SNAs and all the people who work on our schools a very happy and holy Christmas. I look forward now that we can do school visits again to visiting some of your schools in the new year and meeting many of you in 5th and 6th class for the Sacrament of Confirmation in the months ahead.